In the quiet village of Kolim, tucked away in the lush hills of Togo, stood the grand compound of Chief Akoto, a powerful politician whose influence stretched from the local markets to the corridors of power in Lomé. From the outside, his life with his wife, Ajoa, seemed like a dream: palm-thatched roofs over sturdy mud brick walls, a fleet of motorcycles on a shiny SUV parked outside, and villagers who bowed in respect whenever he passed. But beneath the surface, Chief Akoto's wealth was built on shadows: bribes from timber deals, scheme funds from government projects meant for roads and wells, and secret alliances that lined his pockets while the village struggled. One humid afternoon, Akoto returned from a meeting in the capital with a bulging satchel under his arm, creased CFA francs and euros, diverted from a community water project. He smirked as he slipped into his bedroom, where the old mattress lay on the woven mat frame. With a sharp knife, he sliced open a seam, stuffing the bundles deep into the foam, sewing it shut with careful stitches. "Safe from prying eyes," he muttered. That evening, instead of returning to Ajoa, he rode his motorcycle to a hidden spot in the nearby forest, where his mistress, ESI, waited with a bottle of palm wine and a knowing smile. His phone buzzed repeatedly, Ajoa calling, but he silenced it, losing himself in the night. Back at the compound, Ajoa paced the dirt floor, the kerosene lamp casting flickering shadows. She knew the signs: the late nights, the scent of unfamiliar herbs on his clothes, the whispers from market women about his wanderings. Once, their marriage had been filled with laughter and promises under the mango trees, but now it was a hollow shell. She dialed again, her heart heavy, but the calls went unanswered. Tears stung her eyes as she curled up on the mattress, alone in the vast bed, the village sounds of crickets and distant drums mocking her solitude. Beyond the village center, near the overgrown trash heaps where goats rummaged and children played, lived young Kofi, a 14-year-old boy scraping by in a makeshift shack with his widowed mother, Oma. Once, Kofi had dreamed of school and becoming a teacher, but after his father's death in a farming accident, survival meant scavenging the dumps for plastic bottles, scrap metal, and anything sellable. His hands were calloused, his clothes ragged, and his back ached from carrying heavy loads to the market. Oma, frail from illness, wove baskets to sell, but it was never enough. Nights were spent on thin reed mats, hunger gnawing at their bellies. Kofi's mind often wandered to better days, helping his father tend cassava fields, listening to stories by the fire. But reality was harsh: evictions from their old hut after unpaid rents, scavenging under the relentless sun, dodging bullies who stole his finds. One day, "Mama," he'd whisper to Oma as they shared a meager meal of fufu, "we'll have a real home again." Oma would nod, her eyes weary but hopeful, praying to the ancestors for a miracle. The tension in Chief Akoto's compound boiled over one sweltering evening. Ajoa confronted him as he stumbled in, reeking of palm wine and ESI's perfume. "3 nights gone again, Akoto. You treat me like a stranger in my own home," she shouted, her voice echoing through the compound. Akoto's face twisted in anger. "I provide everything: the roof over your head, the food you eat. You dare question me?" Words escalated to shouts, and in a flash, his hand struck her cheek. Ajoa reeled, but fury ignited within her. As Akoto stormed out, slamming the gate, she unleashed her rage, smashing clay pots in the courtyard, hurling stones at his prized motorcycle, denting its frame. Servants and neighbors peeked from afar, whispering but not intervening. Her anger carried her to the bedroom, where she gripped the heavy mattress and dragged it out, down the dirt path, through the gate, and onto the village trash heap. "Let him sleep on the ground like the dog he is," she spat, wiping sweat from her brow. Unbeknownst to her, the mattress held Akoto's secret fortune, his safeguard against political downfall. The next morning, as the sun rose over the hills, Kofi trudged to the trash heap, his empty sack slung over his shoulder. Amid the piles of banana leaves and broken tools, the mattress caught his eye, dusty but intact, far better than their reed mats. His heart raced. This could mean comfort for Omar's aching bones. With all his strength, he dragged it home through the muddy paths, ignoring stares and laughter from villagers. At the shack, Omar's eyes widened. "Kofi, where did this come from?" he explained, beaming with pride. As they cleaned it under the shade of a baobab tree, Omar prodded a lumpy spot. Curious, she fetched a needle and thread, but a seam split open, revealing bundles of cash, euros, dollars, and CFA francs tumbling out like hidden treasure. Kofi's jaw dropped. "Mama, this is more money than we've ever seen." They stared in awe, then fear. Omar whispered, "This must belong to someone powerful. We can't keep it, it could bring danger." But Kofi, remembering their hardships, argued, "It was trash, Mama. Thrown away like us. This is our chance to rise." After tense debate, they agreed to keep it secret, stitching the seam and vowing to use it wisely, no boasting, just quiet steps toward a better life. Back at the compound, Akoto returned days later, his mind foggy from drink. Ajoa's accusations flew, but he brushed past, rushing to the bedroom. The bare frame stared back. "Where is the mattress?" he roared. Ajoa, defiant at first, confessed, "I threw it away in my anger." "You deserved it." Horror dawned as he revealed the hidden fortune. Ajoa's face paled, she collapsed in sobs. "What have I done?" Akoto raced to the trash heap, kicking through debris, but it was gone. Villagers whispered of a boy dragging it away, but no leads emerged. Political winds shifted, rivals exposed his corruption, contracts dried up, bribes ceased. The compound emptied, servants fled unpaid, the SUV was sold, and Akoto's influence crumbled. He and Ajoa fought bitterly, blaming each other, their once grand life reduced to scraps. Kofi and Omar moved cautiously. They exchanged small bundles at a distant money changer, confirming the notes were real. First, food filled their shack, yams, fish, and fruits they hadn't tasted in years. Omar's health improved with medicine. Kofi started a small trading stall in the market, selling scraps turned profits. Soon, they bought a modest hut with a tin roof, a well, and land for farming. As months passed, their business grew. Omar wove finer baskets, Kofi invested in seeds, hiring villagers. They gave back quietly, digging a community well, funding school fees for orphans. Humility guided them, they remembered the lean days, sharing meals with neighbors. For Akoto and Ajoa, ruin brought reflection. One quiet evening, apologies flowed, Akoto for his betrayals, Ajoa for her rash act. They sold what remained, starting a humble farm. No longer rulers, they found peace in simplicity, rebuilding their bond amid the fields. Two paths diverged from one mattress, one of loss and redemption, the other of discovery and wise ascent. In Kolim, fate had woven its shocking turn, proving that fortune favors not the greedy, but the humble.